Hey guys, it's Ryan from resume2offer.com. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a while since our last video, so I wanted to put this one out there. This is going to be a very, very special conversation with Dylan Cox. Dylan is, we're now friends, but he was a client that I helped with his resume, helping to make it ATS compliant, help to optimize it, showcase a lot of his personality traits and traits that are looking for in candidate personas and a lot of stuff on the resumes and ATS systems. And he was able to get a new job because of that. So wanted to kind of bring him on. He's going to showcase kind of like exactly what we did, as well as like share some great insights into the industry, into sales, into just everything that's kind of going on. He's an account executive. So I think this is something you're going to enjoy. Okay, get ready. Cheers. So tell me a little bit about kind of how you got into this realm of sales and into the tech industry and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, it was completely by surprise. I never planned to be in sales, never planned to be in technology. I actually graduated or went through college as a biology major. So my original goal was marine biology. I love animals, love the ocean, all that kind of stuff. And then also I was kind of a competitive cheerleader through college. So
Interesting.
really, yeah, I was kind of like I'm not gonna say the face of athletics, but one of the faces of athletics. They see us all the time. We're interacting with the sponsors, the students, everyone that comes to see the games. And I had a friend of mine that was like, he was like, hey man, so I started doing sales. Like I've been pretty successful. It's like, we have a lot of that same personality where it's outgoing, able to speak to people, really kind of understand what they're going through or what their issues are and kind of guide them through things. And he was like, I think you would kill it in this position. So that was back in 2018. I was with a company called Veeam Software. They specialize in backup and replication solutions, off-premise, on-premise, all that kind of stuff. And he was an SDR or BDR there. I mean, there's different, they're all interchangeable names.
Yeah.
But he was a BDR there, and he was able to actually kind of act as a connect and get me in as a BDR there as well, right after graduating college. And I'd actually, my last year, switched my major to communications. So it actually kind of made a little bit more of a flow, made a little bit more sense taking that into sales than, biology. But once I kind of got into that position there, it just kind of took off. I was able to kind of use my personality and how I'm really outgoing, and kind of prospecting never bothered me. I mean, a lot of people say prospecting is one of the hardest things about sales, having to make all those cold calls, getting no's all the time. It's how I looked at it is it's just one more no until I get to that yes. Nice. So that was kind of the origin story of me jumping into sales. It was having a really good friend of mine that just thought I could be a good fit and kind of jumping in, and just happened to be one. So yeah.
Very cool. And I know that you worked at OpenGov, and then I know you recently got your job at SAP. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell me kind of like that whole storyline?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was with OpenGov for a little under a year. Took a jump from being in the public sector. So private. I was with a company called WorkWave, where I actually was one of their AEs and then senior AEs and team leads after about 2.5 years, kind of selling it was like a minor field management ERP. So it was for field services like pest control, HVAC, landscaping, like those enterprises that are maybe franchising out, or even mom and pop shops that are wanting to become that level of business, sold into them and actually helped them kind of grow their business. And that was probably the first solution that I sold where I actually saw it make a direct difference in someone's life, which was really cool to me, because it wasn't just, oh, cool, yeah, here's a backup solution. It'll make sure your business doesn't fail whenever a hacker tries to get in there and you need to replicate this data or anything like that. It was, hey, I started this business 5 years ago with my son. We are getting enough customers where we can no longer handle it on pen and paper. Please help us find a solution that can grow our business. And I was able to see some companies go from a 5-employee business up to a 4 or 5 franchise across the country in 2-3 years. So that was probably the first solution where I actually felt like a personal reward of this is what sales is meant to be. This is awesome. I'm loving this. But then I kind of made that jump from SMB mid-market at WorkWave directly into the enterprise space at OpenGov. And it was also a big change going from that private business to business directly to business to government. So, and there's red tape everywhere, there's a lot of different processes. So it was a huge, huge change. But yeah, I felt like I was ready, and everyone wants to be enterprise, everyone wants to be strategic reps when they jump into sales, because that's kind of like the end goal if you're an independent contributor.
Yeah.
So it was really cool getting to take that jump into that. Was semi-successful in the role there. There's a lot of learning. Obviously, going from mid-market to enterprise is a completely different game. And then even more so when you're going from private to public and you're now dealing with cities, counties, federal government, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So was at that position, a lot of travel, which I knew was going to be the case. I mean, I was doing on-sites all across the Southeast. Maybe I think my busiest week, I hopped on 7 different flights. So it was,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically every day.
Yeah, literally. It was like, oh, I'm going to fly here. Cool. I'm flying out to Nashville. I'm going to talk to the city there, and then fly out to somewhere in Alabama. So it was, a lot of, sometimes even 2-3 flights a day. So it was definitely busy, but was able to really grow as a, not just person, but a sales individual as well. Understanding those larger deal sizes. Because I mean, I think one of my largest accounts there was $1.5 billion, which,
wow,
being an S&B mid market, I never was going to touch one of those. So it was crazy, kind of getting that experience, getting really hands on with it, and seeing the difference in the game change. It's like going from high school football to college football to the NFL.
Sure.
It's a huge difference there. You got to make additional sacrifices. I mean, you're spending a lot more time, obviously, some more travel. But that's kind of the name of the game when you want to level up and kind of see where you can go in the sales space. But kind of jumping back to that OpenGov transition to SAP. Sorry for the long-winded answer there.
Oh, this is very fun. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking of other questions I want to ask about this, but please keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just kind of got to the point where I missed that private business to business concept where I'm like, okay, I'm in the race again. I'm speaking with other businesses to see how we can help them grow. And I kind of wanted to get back into that. And that's when I actually reached out to you regarding my resume, getting that updated, and kind of seeing where that could take me in the space. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that SAP was hiring, and SAP to me had always been one of my top 3 businesses that I really wanted to work for. I had a family friend who worked at SAP, and he kind of been whispering in my ear at we had like a friendly poker game once a month as all of us. And every time we go there, he'd whisper in my ear, "Hey man, SAP, SAP, SAP." And I was like, honestly, I don't think I am at the level to come perform at SAP. So it's kind of like more of like, I don't know if I'm ready. But then I got to that enterprise level. I was able to build my confidence up as a salesperson to be like, I think I can go anywhere I need to and sell. Like at this point, I've gotten prospecting down. I understand what different clients need. I understand how to speak to executives, which is one of the biggest things for salespeople, is kind of lacking that confidence sometimes. And I was able to kind of hype myself up, I guess, and be like, okay, we're going to do it. Ended up applying. And with your help, honestly, the resume that you helped me build changed the game. I'm not just saying that because we're doing an interview.
I appreciate it.
I'm not just saying that because we're doing this, but no, it really did. It allowed me to get a better grasp of my own abilities and actually put that on paper and give me a better chance. Because like you said, I mean, they're using all kinds of AI now when it comes to recruiting. There's a different game when it comes to the recruiting game now. And people don't know that. So if they don't know that, they're going to apply to everywhere they can with an okay resume, and it's just going to hit the bottom of that stack and you're not going to really be recognized. So that's why, I mean, I was definitely excited to do this because you actually did play a good role. And I think that resume helped me to land that interview. I won the interview, but you gave me the head start to actually get there. So I really do appreciate that. And that's why I was like, I want to, whether it's a review, an interview, whatever I can do, absolutely want to give back to you. But
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was able to land that interview. And it just so happened that I had a great recruiter. And it was, I think it was a 3 or 4 step process for me. I'm not going to go too much into detail on that.
Actually, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are in your shoes. I'd be curious on your process and what kind of was those pivotal things that I nailed it. I got the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing about me, and it just happened to be the timing was perfect. So SAP, they have their virtual customer event. They call it Sapphire. So Sapphire 25 was actually going on towards the end of my interview process. So I had gone through 2 steps, speaking with VPs, really getting a good understanding of the business, kind of what they're looking for in their role, and what territories. And then I like to do a lot of learning on my own, whether it's something that's going to help me land this role or just help me in general when it comes to sales as a person. Because I mean, SAP, they're one of the front lines of AI in their business, and we know the world's changing. AI is at the top right now. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to keep getting better. But with Sapphire, what they were doing is they were obviously doing live events online. They're doing videos that you could jump in and learn on all the things that are going on with the business, as well as just like the industry in general. And I took the initiative to reach out to my recruiter and be like, hey, I want to get access to these videos. I want to be sitting in on these while I'm at home. Please, I have some spare time right now. I want to learn. So I was able to kind of get in those, and that helped me get a really good understanding, not just about the industry or about SAP in general, but where they're heading with their go-to-market strategy, the new solutions they're adding in. They have an AI co-pilot called Joule, and how they're integrating that into every single solution to make your day 1,000 times easier. So I was actually able to come into my final 2 parts of my interview fully stacked on knowledge that their actual AEs that are selling these solutions have. So at a high level overview, I was able to create a pitch deck and say, hey, this is this, and this. This is how I'm going to sell this in the space. This is my 30, 60, 90 plan, how I expand in the territory, and all that kind of stuff. So I took a lot of initiative in creating the resources up front to, I don't want to say wow them, because I don't know if that's the case, but impress them enough for me to get that position and get brought on.
Give them the hook, basically.
Exactly. So it was a little bit of pre-planning, doing those classes, spending the extra couple hours to make sure, hey, I want to get this position. I'm showing you that I'm going to do what it takes to be successful here. Even if I don't even though I haven't gotten the position yet, you're seeing that I'm taking hours and hours out of my week or my day to sit here and learn about what you all are doing in the industry to push that value there. Yeah. And I think that really helped me kind of in the process, not just reassure myself that SAP is the right option for me, because that's really one of the biggest things that did it. I was sitting there, I was like, this is so cool. I was like, I love this. I'm excited to sell this software, or just see where you go in the future as a business, even if I'm not there selling this tool. Mm-hmm. So I think that genuine excitement also is like, okay, I think this is a good guy to bring on our team. He's gonna do some stuff here. So that helped out a lot, kind of across the board.
Awesome. You mentioned a little bit about SMB going to enterprises, like high school to college. How did you gain the confidence to then start kind of like, what, I'm ready for enterprise. I got this.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, right up front, jumping into that role, I didn't. I was like, all right, this is a big step. And it was kind of an interesting time too. It was right when the election was kind of happening. So you never know what's going to happen with the economy, where this is going to go. It's kind of up in the air. And I was the top rep at WorkWave in my space. I was the team lead. I was the senior AE. I was the mentor across our team. And it was cool because I got to mentor people that were brand new as an SDR that then went to President's Club with me the next year. So it's things like that. Like I was able to build my confidence as a salesperson that way. Like, okay, I'm actually good at this. Why not take that jump and take see what happens? And so I actually had a lot of internal thoughts. I was like, man, do I just stay here and see if I can get up to enterprise at WorkWave? Do I take this jump and go into an unknown area of, first off, public space and enterprise sales? And everyone that I know is like, Dylan, are you dumb? Why would you not do that? Take the chance. I mean, worst case scenario, you fail, you learn something, you go to the next place and you do better. And I was like, you're right. It's like, I don't know why I'm even nervous. I've never been nervous about something like this before. Let's go ahead and take that step. And it really did end up working out. I had a great team over there that was really they were able to provide me resources. They were all like, hey, we get it. You're a new enterprise rep, especially in the space. Like, this is how we were successful. See if that works for you. And I kind of started taking little baby steps and building up my resume of sales, knowledge and all that. And it definitely kind of made a little bit of a change where I was able to kind of change my mindset a little bit as well and be like, okay, my confidence is up there. I'm no longer speaking to businesses, which, cool. CEO over here. I was speaking to the leader of the biggest cities in the country.
The
So
big
I was
dogs.
like,
Yeah.
the leader of the city that has 20 of these businesses in there that I usually talk to. So it was like that gave me a little bit more confidence as well, because I was like, okay, I'm speaking to someone that can change the lives of however many millions of people live in their city right here. So that was a really cool concept, and that kind of helped me kind of build a lot of that confidence up as well.
What were some of the big, I'm sure now at this point in your career, you've met a lot of other account executives.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's kind of one of those like kind of nods, like everybody's kind of cut from the same cloth. What are some of the common denominators that you notice with a lot of the AEs or enterprise AEs that you come across?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and honestly, this is kind of the biggest difference that I saw from me as a mid-market SMB compared to those tenured enterprise reps. First off, it is that confidence, and secondly, it is listening. I had a big issue where I got ADHD really bad. I talk. If a question pops up in my head, I'm like, this person needs to finish talking so that I can I can answer this before I forget about it. Once I kind of learned, like, okay, take your time and let this person tell you their problem.
Yeah.
That's the best. The best reps, a conversation is going to be 20% that rep talking, 80% that customer talking. It's all about listening. The biggest skill is active listening, because if you're able to actually reiterate something that customer said later on in the conversation, or maybe in the next call, that gains you points as well. And it lets them show that you're not just listening to them, you care about what they're saying, and you're looking for an actual solution for what their problem is. That's one of the biggest things that I saw. And that helped me kind of change my sales game as well was, hey, I don't need to just spit all these words at you. I need to say, hey, this is what we do. This is your current state. This is the future state. Please tell me what your problems are so we can actually bring that solution to you.
Nice. There's a lot of different sales methodologies out there, and I feel like a lot of people, including myself, when we start off in sales, we don't really have a methodology. We just kind of shotgun approach. And I feel like in the last couple of years now, you keep hearing, spin, bant, medic, all these
Mm.
different methodologies have kind of like come to the surface a lot more.
Yep.
What has been the ones that have kind of worked for you?
Yeah, so it really depends on the space. If you're SMB mid-market, Bant and Spin work phenomenally. I mean, they don't have the need for med pick or medic when you're talking to a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But their main things might be, hey, do you have the budget? Are you the decision maker? Or are you just a employee? Like, do you have the timeline? All this kind of stuff. Obviously, that's super important. But as the business grows, obviously that sales process becomes way more complex. Enterprise and higher mid-market, I would say MedPick has been my most successful, just because it does allow you to get a little bit deeper, a little bit more information on what you're searching for, depending on the industry. But like I said, it is really super dependent on who you're selling into, the space, the market size. All that does have a really big, play a really big part in kind of the variability there.
Is there any other techniques that you utilize that that have allowed you to basically increase your sales?
Technique wise, so it depends. So one thing that I did, and I was always really creative with my prospecting. I was one of the first people at WorkWave that was using Vidyard to do like video outreach, or
Yeah.
kind of more personalized. Hey, this is a 10-second clip of the biggest feature that helps pest control companies or HVAC or lawn care. Interested in seeing the next 20 minutes of this presentation? Let's set up some time and go from there. At WorkWave, I was able to do sometimes 2 or 3 sales a day and hit my quota by the second week of the month or whatever it was, because I was doing these creative outreaches. Or maybe I was at a gas station and I saw a pest control vehicle pass by or stop to get gas. I was taking pictures of that vehicle, calling the number while I was like from my headphones while I was still in the car, and saying, hey, I just saw one of your vehicles out here. I just wanted to see what you guys are using for solution. Are you doing this? Would love to have a conversation just to see if there's any way we can help you out over here. Feel free to check us out, WorkWave, PestPack, whatever it is. That was able to really help me. And probably the biggest thing, being a BDR. Being a BDR, SDR, that role is the foundation and the building blocks of a successful salesperson, in my opinion. Because I'll say this, prospecting is in the ABCs of sales. You're never going to not prospect. And to be honest, it's highly unlikely that you're going to go to a role where every lead is handed to you. Now, you might find a unicorn where you're completely inbound. It's like, yeah, awesome. This is great. I'll cherry pick this lead and I'll call that one. Most of the time, you're going to have some kind of prospecting, and that's whether you're SMB, mid-market, enterprise, or strategic. You're going to have an account that you have to call into, multi-thread, or anything like that to make sure you're being successful in the space as well.
Kind of going back to people entering the job market, we kind of mentioned that I think a lot of people don't realize kind of like what it takes to jump in. I think we kind of got a little bit, we were lucky where we kind of got into this space kind of before the boom and before it got
Absolutely.
really like, holy crap, it's a whole different ball game. What would you recommend for people who are trying to get into the space? What do they need to do? What is the kind of the mindset to adopt those type of things?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is changing. I mean, like you said, there was a big boom in the last like 2 or 3 years that tech sales blew up, especially after COVID when a lot of people became remote. I mean,
Yeah.
you mean I can sit at home and make over $100,000 making like doing this? Is like, why wouldn't I do that? So you're right. There was a huge boom a few years ago, and it almost kind of like oversaturated the space. There were a lot of companies that brought on too many people,
Yeah.
do layoffs, unfortunately, kind of things like that. But one of the things that I would say, and that helped me, obviously, other than having that connection into the space, was put my head down and being willing to learn. I mean, sales is a completely different game than being an analyst or doing something else, maybe HR, because you're constantly dealing with rejection. A lot of people can't do that. It's a mentality thing. It's like a lot of people take things personally. The amount of times I've been cussed at, yelled at, all this kind of stuff just for calling someone
Yeah.
is ridiculous. But I was always like, oh yeah, no problem, sir. I appreciate your time and you answering. Have a good day. Click. Dang, he must have had a bad day. Okay, on to the next one. Call him. Yeah, awesome. And then actually maybe close that deal. So it's all a numbers game. The biggest thing is just don't give up. I mean, it is a super saturated space right now, but there's always new companies coming up. There's always an opportunity to jump into the space. And the worst thing that could happen is you don't make this one. Cool. Move on to the next one.
Mhm.
And most likely you're not going to get into your golden standard of a company as your first choice. You got to start off somewhere. If you're really wanting to break into sales, tech sales, it always helps. I mean, maybe take a year or two to go to a lesser known company. Learn the skills required to be a solid SDR, BDR, or if you're lucky, an AE at an entry level, and kind of go from there, because there are paths to success in sales. Even if you're not, if you're coming from a space where you didn't do any sales at all. Obviously, I had the connection that was able to get me in, but it's just a numbers game, just like how we work within sales. I mean, cool. This is a business that's doing a mission that I might be interested in. I'd love to sell that, learn about that mission, learn about that industry, and then go into that interview prepared like I did going into this SAP interview as well.
When you're looking at it, because you've now worked for a few different companies, so I'm sure you notice this, but when you're kind of sourcing and scouting a new company, new position, what are some of the big things that you kind of look for?
Yeah. Obviously, the biggest thing is, how does their product fit into the market? Is it a good to have solution? Is it a nice to have solution, or is it a need to have?
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. And then also look at their customer base. Okay, I see 75% of the Fortune 500 using the solution. Why would I not want to sell that solution? The
Yeah.
biggest companies in the world need this software to run. Other companies are going to grow to that point, and they're going to need that solution as well. I need to get in this place, and I need to sell this solution now while it's still growing or while it is top of the market. And also making sure, like, checking out their go-to-market strategy. A lot of these companies, they do sometimes publish their go-to-market strategy so that other people can see it. That's always really good. You can see kind of how their trends are going. So little things like that are things that I look for. And then also I look at my connections. If I have a network that is connected to that business, I know referrals go a huge distance in sales. If you know someone that is a successful rep at a company and they refer you in, you automatically get a little bit of a head start in that process, because good reps bring in other good reps most of the time.
Mhm.
No one's going to put, like, I've been asked to do referrals before. I've done several of them. I've also unfortunately had to reject some because I was like, I love you as a person, but I don't know if my name on you as a
Yeah, yeah,
business is going
yeah.
to look
I
good
know what
on
you
me.
mean.
So you never know, and that can be a double-edged sword. You can boost yourself up, or you can push your like kind of get yourself in the back there a little bit. So those are kind of the biggest things that I would say. Expanding your network, going to events. I mean, a lot of these businesses actually have networking events that you can go meet some of their team, their professionals, and learn kind of what they're doing or what they're looking for, so that if you're not at that stage of professional, like, okay, they're looking for this, this, and this. I don't have that yet, but I have a path to get there. Let's go ahead and get that started and jump into this so I can get to this business or this company in the future where I want to be maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the road as a mid-market or enterprise rep.
When when you join a company, well, so actually, I got a few questions, but
Yeah, no.
when I talk to people, there's so many different ways of learning tech sales and things like that, and I've been talking to people where I'm like, when I boil it down, you have to make sure your resume is completely in alignment. That's a big thing because nobody really knows about the ATS as much
Yeah.
anymore. And then the other thing is your presentation skills. And
Mhm.
I think actually, if you look at the upstream effects, it's picking the right company, picking the right product. That's a big one because the most I hear about is people get excited, they join a company, and then 6 months later, they're back to where they started, where it was like, oh, that was actually I got sold by the marketing maybe of the company and not really like did my due diligence. Um, One of the biggest things that I can't really teach, I mean, I could teach them, but I can't really help as much is the presentation skills
Yeah.
and the sales skills. Can you talk a little bit about that on like, hey, how did you develop yours? But also like, what do they need to have, as part of that kind of interview presentation going into the company?
Yeah, absolutely. And fun fact, so I used to have a speech impediment. I used to have a really, really
Wow,
bad
okay.
list. Yeah, TH sounds, S sounds. It was terrible. Like
You're
it
a
was, yeah.
you're a wonderful communicator.
Well, I appreciate it. And so that was actually one of my biggest fears growing up was public speaking. I was asked to, and I was at anything that was in front of 5 people, 10 people. I was asked by my dad to say a few words at his wedding when he got remarried. And I think I was maybe 16. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do this. And I'm sweating. I was like, oh, so nervous. And I just had to say like 15 words. But really, and I cheated a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It was a big difference when I started doing cheerleading, which is kind of weird because I was
Interesting.
built a lot of confidence. I went from being
Well, you
nervous
got to
around
you got to
people.
express yourself,
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah.
I was able to walk up to entire cheerleading teams of cute girls and be like, "Oh, hey, my name's Dylan. Great to meet you all. Like, I'd love to just kind of conversate and all that kind of stuff." And so that helped out a lot. But it was able to kind of build the confidence and practicing. I mean, honestly, any interview I do, any video I do where I'm going to post something online, I practice this a script that I might have made. I'm making sure I'm working on eye contact. So the last thing I'm going to do, you're not going to see me scanning the sheet or anything like that. I'm not doing that. I make sure that I memorize or have these things locked down enough from actually practicing them to where when I get into an actual presentation, I am more confident. I know the work that I've put into it. And all I have to do is I'm just having a conversation with somebody. That's one of the biggest things. People are like, oh no, I'm speaking with a CEO. Yeah, you are. But that's still a person. They understand you might make a mistake. You might double up on a word. You might stutter, whatever it might be. Reset. Be like, maybe make a joke. Oh, I don't know what I did that for, and jump right into the conversation again. And that's one of the biggest things is just realizing that you are just speaking to other people. You're not like they're not going to judge you. I mean, people make mistakes even if you do mess up in your conversations, but it's actually getting back up and being willing to continue on with that, and not completely shutting down or breaking down anything like that, which happens to some people, unfortunately, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Really focusing on not letting that happen. That was one thing, practicing um, cheerleading, like I said. And then also, I have a pretty outgoing personality in general. I'm very extroverted. My fiance makes fun of me all the time because she is the complete opposite. She's like, Dylan, you can talk to drywall if you want. I'm like, well, drywall can be interesting. You never know what they might say to you. So it's like things like that really helped me kind of get into it. And that is kind of why my buddy was like, you'd be really good at sales because you love to talk to people, you love to listen, and you're good at providing solutions for normal things. Why not try it for businesses as well?
Right on. When you join a new company, what is in the first 90 days? what's your kind of plan of attack?
Yeah. Well, first thing is first, product knowledge. And that's not saying learn everything you can about a solution, because as a salesperson, most of the time you are going to have some kind of technical resource that is available to help you, maybe a solutions expert that's able to kind of help you run things, but also understanding the strategy of the business, your accounts, your territory, the industry that you're working into is all really important. And then if you're lucky enough to be at a company that works with partners, understanding the partner ecosystem. In sales, partners can do half your job for you sometimes if you have the right connection, the right relationship for you. Because if you're bringing sales to them, they're going to bring sales to you, and kind of etc. So that really helps out there. And that's probably my main things. But I always try to have that 30, 60, 90 plan up front, because first off, employers love to see that you're thinking ahead and you have a strategy to get off the ground running. Because the last thing they want to do is spend nine months ramping someone up when they could do it in 3 months, 4 months, 2 months, whatever it might be. They want you to get on the ground running as fast as possible. So having a strategy available ahead of time is always going to bring you more success than it will any kind of failure. And that also loops back to the confidence thing. Having the confidence to create that plan and present it, and then also be like, hey, this is my 30, 60, 90 plan as an employee. What is your plan for me as an employer? What would you change on this that you want me to do to make sure that I'm meeting not just my standards, but yours as my new employer as well? And that's kind of helped out a lot. That helped out a lot with SAP, because I asked for that feedback. I'm not afraid to be told I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to be told, hey, this is not correct. This is not correct. Do this instead and you'll be better. Because who wouldn't want to better themselves every single day? That's kind of how I look at it. And it's helped me out a lot, because I'm always trying to learn something new, whether it be a new methodology or, okay, I did this cold call and butchered it. Let's change this and see if it goes a little bit different. So kind of A and B testing things as well helps out a lot.
I was training a person once, and I thought I'm not going to say the exact quote, but it was kind of along the lines where like sales just sounds like self-development. It's just wrapped up in self-development. Do you kind of agree with that? I was like, that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I make this joke to my fiance and my friends all the time. It's like, I'm just here for character development, y'all. I'm just here to make y'all better, help y'all get better at what you're doing, or kind of joke about it. But yeah, it is a huge self-development space. Not just in sales skills, but personal skills as well. You got to build patience. You got to work on your confidence. You got to work on how you present yourself to individuals, or different things like that. And those are all things that don't just help you in sales. It helps you in life in general. And I'll definitely say I'm better. I'm a better person because of sales, because of the development that I did on my own. Like, okay, I used to do this a lot, and some people could see that as rude, but I thought of it as, like I said, with my ADHD, oh man, I'm just trying to get a question out. I don't mean to cut you off or anything like that. It's like, sit back and wait, listen. Patience is a virtue. It's going to help you out in the long run. And it really has, across my workspace, my personal relationships, with my fiance as well. So definitely 100% self-development, because you're not going to get better unless you're trying to.
Nice. By the way, how did you meet your fiance, if you mind me asking?
Cheerleading. Yeah.
Really?
So
Okay, perfect.
we actually cheered together at our school in college, and went right there, and we've been together since 2018.
Oh
Yeah. And
wow.
we're got engaged, I believe it was last February, and getting married in October of this year.
Oh my God.
So,
Congratulations.
thank you. And just another reason for me to work hard. I got a wedding to pay for. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, oh, I had another one. I forgot already. Darn it. Oh, that was it. Is there any books or resources that you believe that really, hey, this really changed the game for me? Anything that you would recommend there?
Honestly, one of the biggest ones for me, and you've probably heard before, the Challenger sale was a really good one, because it allowed you to, like, kind of, it's in the name, challenge how you're actually listening, how your customer is presenting things. It allows you to get a better grasp of, okay, well, I know you're doing it this way, but why wouldn't you do it this way compared to what you're currently doing? Like, actually being able to, I don't want to say confront, but kind of put like attack at it, like, okay, well, I know you're doing it this way, but like,
Yeah.
why
Feel a
not?
little discomfort, basically.
Exactly. Why stay in this comfort zone where you know you need to make a change when you can challenge yourself and actually make that change? Possibly, I mean, small chance you fail, but that extra chance that you succeed and exponentially grow your business or what you're trying to do. So that was a really big one for me, and that's actually one that my direct manager OpenGov suggested that we read as a team, and I loved it. So that was one that I was sitting there in traffic, listening to it on Audible. I would like hear something about, oh man, I gotta take a note real quick, and so I'd like really quickly type a note or record that audio and be like, I love that quote or I love that section. I'm gonna put that like in a notebook somewhere so I can have it available to read it when I'm having a bad day or something like that to remind myself, oh, this is what it takes to be good in sales. So that was a good one. Oh man, I'm trying to remember the other ones. I've only read like 3 sales books. I do a lot of like online thing, like podcasts, stuff like that sometimes. But
any certain podcasts that you love to listen to?
So I'm blanking on it. You know John Marsh. So John Marsh is the one that introduced me to it. I'd have to reach out to him to find out what it's called. I haven't listened to it in the last few weeks.
We did a video together recently, and I posted about a week ago. John is just same kind of just all this energy. It's just a fun guy to talk to.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's one of my best friends. I've known him since we were 13 years old.
Oh wow, okay.
Going on 32. So yeah, and he was one of the people he was like, dude, I need to get into sales. I was like, let's get you into it, bro. I was like, it's a good place to be. Is like, come to the greener side of the grass.
Yep.
And so he's absolutely killing it where he's at too. He jumped into cybersecurity right out of the bat and is killing it.
Very true. Yeah, he's getting into good space. So podcasts, courses, masterminds, any other resources you would recommend?
Trying to think. I'm awful with names. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm trying to think. I'm scratching my brain trying to remember where they are. I might have to come back to that if I can remember.
No worries.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of metrics and data? Because I feel like, when I started sales, that wasn't a big thing. I mean, they measured the amount of cold calls and maybe the amount of billing you did, and that was kind of it. And now it's gotten to this whole like, you got to know your data inwards and outwards, backwards, forwards. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it wasn't always like that. When I first started sales, like it was like, hey, make your calls, close your deals. That's what we care about, create pipeline. Now it's, hey, if you're not hitting 100 calls, if you're not shooting at 100 emails a day, it's like, what are you doing? Like, and that's only really if you're not successfully hitting goals. But that's why it kind of comes back to that statement I made earlier. Prospecting is in the ABCs of sales. Like if you're not, it's a numbers game. If you're not making calls, if you're not making emails, you're not successfully doing outreach, then you're not going to have success as a salesperson because you're not going to have that pipeline growing. Maybe you get a deal in every now and then when you get lucky and you close it, but then you're like back to, oh no, now I have to hunt for the next deal that I can close in the same day or same week or whatever it is. It allows you to have a framework. And that's how I look at metrics. I look at metrics as a framework to success. Okay, I know when I was an SMB rep, I made 200 calls. I would book 10 meetings. That's the percentage of how many calls I need to make. And then out of those 10 meetings, maybe 3 or 4 of them will close if lucky. And I'd be like, okay, cool. On a bad day, if I make 100 calls, I might get 3 meetings. I might get 1 deal from that. So understanding the percentages there and the kind of the framework of those metrics allows you to kind of frame your day a little bit better and kind of give you more structure as well. Time management is huge when it comes to sales. It's extremely important. You got to know, okay, one thing I do is I block off my calendar. I'm like, hey, I've got a 2-hour block of me prospecting. If you have a question, put it in my Slack, my Teams. If it's super important, I'll answer it right then. If not, I am dialing and you're going to get an answer in 2 hours. So that's something I do because it allows me to kind of first off contain my ADD and like, okay, I can focus on this. It's a task that I just bust out all these calls for this industry. That really helps me kind of get that done. And then also metrics are going up. I mean, we're not the only ones that have to deal with metrics. It all falls down. Our VPs, our like presidents of these businesses, they have metrics they have to meet, which is automatically going to mean, hey, it's going to go downhill and you're going to have your own metrics that you have to meet as well. And like I said, it is a framework that if done correctly can lead to massive success in no matter what industry you're in. So that's kind of my opinion of metrics. Sometimes they can definitely be ridiculous. If someone's like, hey, Dylan, make 200 calls and send out 200 personalized email in a day, I'm going to look at it like them like they've got 4 eyes in their head. Like that's crazy. But some businesses are like that. And, it works for different salespeople depending on where they're at.
Ooh, I think it's very interesting where I know sales has become so popularized in the last couple of years, and I know a lot of it's I think because of the economy and
Mhm.
because a lot of people can't really make the income maybe they once, or the cost of living is
Yeah.
so kind of crazy, and sales is one of the avenues that like, hey, this can actually give you a lifestyle that is fun, but I don't think people understand the realities or the work ethic that kind of
Mhm.
goes into it. And can you talk a little bit about who do you think sales is for versus who do you think sales is not for?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, sales is one of the only industries or professions where it's quid pro quo. You get what you put back, will put
Mm,
what you put in. If I put 110% into this, I'm going to be rewarded for that effort.
yeah.
But then you have some reps that are like, cool, is chill job. I'm remote. I can just wake up at 11 o'clock, make some calls, and maybe my boss won't bother me. That rep might get lucky and find success here and there, but they won't be able to consistently grow and become better at their profession. It is all about the effort that you put in. Who sales is for? Honestly, anyone that's willing to put in the work. I'm not going to say, hey, you're an introvert. I know 2 or 3 of the best salespeople I know that make a crazy amount of money hate like going out and doing things. They're crazy introverts. Like they like to be at home and that's it. But they understand the aspects or the personality traits that require them to be good. Like I said, being patient, being confident. These are just traits that anyone can really get good at and master if they just put the time in, which is the same thing when it comes to sales. You can master sales if you put the work in to do so. Now, the people that are not going to be a good fit for this are the ones that can't do that. Just simple as that. It's if you're not willing to put in that effort, I will tell you now, you're not going to be successful in sales because it is such a populated profession where you have so many tenured and amazing reps that will take your place. A company will replace you if you are not hitting those
Yeah.
numbers or doing your job, just like any other company will. But maybe as an analyst and I'm not saying these jobs aren't hard because they are all definitely hard to do, but maybe you might have a little bit more job security in this role versus sales. Sales, even the best reps sometimes get let go. I mean, it's how it happens. But you got to be willing to work with rejection, being all those negative things that kind of come with sales that will build you up to be better at it as well.
I'm gonna get a little bit kind of self-developed
Mhm.
basically, but I hear when people think of sales, and I feel like there's a mental block with some people, right? When they hear sales, sometimes they think car salesman, or they think
Yep.
like, sales like, oh, I'm gonna have to do hard selling, boiler room type of stuff.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like the people that I know, when they think of sales, they don't think that way. They think differently. And they're always the same. When I think of sales, I just think communication. That's kind of it. I was
Yep.
kind of curious when you think of sales, what kind of comes to your mind?
To be honest, our conversation we're having right here, 90% of my calls are digital. There's through Zoom, through Google, whatever it is. It's a conversation. It's all about learning what's going on and trying to solve that problem. And like I said, the current state versus future state, understanding where a business or where a person is at now versus where they want that to be, and
Mhm.
actually being able to provide them the solution and the steps they need to get to that place. That's what is going to change the game and make you an okay salesman to a phenomenal salesman or salesperson, sorry, to actually help you be successful is making those changes there. So that's kind of something I've seen that really kind of helped me in this space with understanding that concept a little bit better as well.
You've developed SDRs and BDRs. Can you talk a little bit about how you've developed them in the past and like how do you create that team synergy as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started with when I started at Veeam Software as a BDR. I focused on SMB and mid-market. Didn't mess with anything enterprise at that level, but SMB and mid-market. And I had really good reps. They were communicative, but they weren't like, I didn't feel like there was a partnership there where I can go and be like, hey, I'd love to do this, this, and this. What are you doing? It was more like a, hey, call these accounts and see what you can catch. Book a meeting for me. Cool. What I thought of as I grew my sales position, I was like, what could that rep have done? And it's not their job to do that, obviously, but what extra could that rep have done that would have helped me develop and be a better salesperson at that point? And that's kind of what I take. I was a cheerleading coach. I was a wrestling coach for a little while. So I was good at coaching people in general, but understanding, hey, these are the issues that I faced when I was in this and what I wish I'd had a little bit more guidance on. I'm going to go ahead and give that to these people because first off, if you're an AE and you're working with an SDR and BDR, why wouldn't you want them to be good at their job? Mm-hmm. They're booking your meetings. You don't want a BS discovery call just to be throwing your calendar so they can hit quota. You want them to actually provide a strong meeting that has a obvious agenda or anything like that to make sure that you're able to move that business forward. So I sat there and I would be like, hey, this is our industry that we're selling into. This is the research that I've done. This is what I did when I was a BDR that worked and that did not work at all. Let's try this. Awesome. That worked. Cool. Next one. Okay, let's try this. So I was doing like video sessions where I would listen to their calls. I'd be on the calls with them. Or if I'm doing a prospecting, maybe hour or two block, I would invite them in so that they could learn how I do it as the AE, the additional questions that I look for. And obviously as an AE, my discovery is usually going to be more in depth than a BDR or an SDR. But it gave them a good idea. And I keep saying the word framework, but it gave them a framework of what to really base a successful discovery call on rather than just cool, I'm just trying to hit my quota or my goal. And that really helped me kind of move forward. And I always say this, I'm like, hey, let's make some damn money. Like me and you got commission, I got commission. Let's feed ourselves and our families and be successful. And a lot of salespeople, I mean, we're motivated by money, to be honest. It's a place where you can make a huge amount of money if you're really good at it. And that is a driving success factor for a lot of people. So kind of saying, hey, this is what we got to do. This is going to help you. It's going to help me. And in the long run, I'll train you to where you're going to be an AE. And that was kind of my mindset when I was at WorkWave. I was like, hey, I want you to be so successful in your BDR role that they have absolutely no choice but to promote you to then be on my team as an AE with me so we can get more success here as well. And that helped out a lot. And I still got friendships over at WorkWave that are killing it in the AE role that were those BDRs when I first started there that were able to kind of get into that President's Club and the AE role and be really successful there as well.
Nice. If you were just starting in sales and like, okay, the next, 2 to 5 years, I'm going to create this whole protocol to take me from zero to enterprise, what would you kind of do? What would be some of those kind of action steps and everything?
Yeah. And I'll kind of loop back to this. Don't skip the BDR role because it is, like I said, it's the groundwork of being successful in prospecting. And prospecting is one of the main pillars of being in sales. You also understand, hey, you get an idea of the rejection you're going to get. I mean, it allows you to really kind of dip your toe in the water and be like, okay, am I the type of person that can deal with rejection or this kind of personality, or am I the type that will not be able to handle that? And kind of giving yourself a little bit of a preview is extremely helpful. So from that standpoint, getting started, that's obviously number one. And then number two, kind of understanding which space you want to go into. Not everyone is built to be an enterprise rep. Maybe they are the perfect personality for SMB or mid-market, and they can just kill it at that role and make plenty of money doing that and not have to deal with the extra stress of going up to enterprise. Because I'll be honest, enterprise it's a stressful place to be in. You're going to deal with bigger deals. You're dealing with leadership really being laser focused on your deals as well, because you are the main providers of revenue at that point for the sales organization. When I was an SB rep, I had a little bit of eyes on me. I was doing great. I got a lot of
little under the radar versus enterprise. Yeah,
exactly. Then I went to mid-market and I was like, okay, there's a little bit more eyes on me here. They're asking me questions. It's a little bit, I can understand the idea of micromanaging or kind of needing more information on these deals. And then I went to enterprise and it was like, Dylan, I need every detail on this deal right this second. I don't care if you have your notes in front of me. I need them right now. So it's almost like knowing all the details of your deals, understanding the processes of these different customers or who the target is, and kind of understanding what their issue is. It's just a huge jump in things that you like, requirements. And understanding those is huge. And understanding if you are the type of person that can handle that, or maybe, hey, I know I'm killing it here in SMB or mid-market. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit longer until I'm built or I have that confidence to jump to enterprise as well. So those are probably some of the biggest things. And then also, I mean, look into podcast or a book and kind of just understand what it takes to do that. And if it's something that you could really see yourself doing as well.
Awesome. I know we're running a little bit out of time. I gotta take my in-laws to the airport, actually.
No worries.
I can hear them in the other room. Uh, any other thoughts, suggestions, tips, advice for people either looking to break into tech sales or sales in general, or kind of this whole pathway?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, expand your network. One of the biggest things, like I said, referrals go huge in sales. That's whether someone's bringing a referral to me as a business and I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, this is the best kind of customer. You're bringing me more business. Or if I'm a salesperson, I'm referring you into my company as another salesperson. They go a long way, and it helps out a lot. And then also just take your time. It's not a sprint. You don't need to jump from BDR to enterprise rep in 2 years. Take your time, understand the industry. And there's so many industries that have salespeople. I mean, I'm in cloud SaaS. John's in cybersecurity. There's backup application. There's med sales. There's all kind of different sales. Understanding what might be the best fit for you and what you're passionate about actually helps out a lot. I love being able to help people. I love technology and I love software. I mean, that all clicks really well with me. So that's why I was like, SaaS is the place that I need to go because it makes more sense. I can actually understand it and I can be passionate about selling this product to someone that actually needs it. So really understanding kind of your own little niche and where you belong is going to be huge in your success as well. Because the last thing you want to do is you get stuck with a company that you're selling a software you absolutely hate.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't want to even sell this to somebody because I don't like it or I don't see the value in it. Versus me at SAP, I was watching their virtual sessions and I was like, this is awesome. Like this could help everybody. Like this is great. Like businesses definitely need this. That's where I was like, I'm interviewing for the right company right now. And that was able to kind of give me, first off, more excitement. They saw that excitement. It allows me to get more success in my kind of career or long run journey as well.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, this has been amazing, buddy. I really do appreciate you taking the time. I love your enthusiasm. I'm like, God, I gotta take notes on this. I need to have some of that enthusiasm, that pep, some more often.
And one other tip:
Yes.
work with Ryan. Work with Ryan. I'm not, like I said, not hyping him up. Yeah, you killed it, man. You made it a very easy process, kind of getting my resume updated, providing me with the tools that I needed to really be successful and land, in my opinion, my unicorn job. So it was awesome.
Really do appreciate it. I'm happy to help. I'm glad it sounds like everything's going great. So major congratulations and congratulations on your wedding coming up.
Thank
That'll
you
be
very much. I
phenomenal.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Dylan, love to keep in touch, buddy. Please reach out to me anytime. I'm glad that we were able to like connect again. But thanks again, brother, and congrats. I'm looking forward to hear more success stories from you.
Absolutely, Ryan. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.